Hello, this is Richard. Believe it or not, my parents got engaged in 1939 after only 2 weeks, and since then, they've been through so much together. Now they're reaching 70 years of marriage and still so in love. I'd like to have a surprise party for them at the old farm my father grew up on. I want everyone they know and love to be there. Everything should be just perfect. I'd like the party to help them remember all they've done together. And I don't know where to begin. Do you think you can help? Great. I'm going to be with my parents in Florida for the next few weeks. Could you please fly over to the farmhouse in Pennsylvania and start setting things up? I'll email you a ticket ASAP, and I'll have more information when you get there. Good luck. Scrapbook inside. It tells the story of my parents' life together. After taking a peek, you should probably start with the invitations. Oh, sorry. I think we're breaking up. Hello? Hello?
It was 1939. I was a young lieutenant, still single, assigned to the South Pacific. As fate would have it, I met Helen at a party in San Francisco while I was on leave. She had freckles, played golf, and liked to dance. Was this the girl of my dreams? For the next few days, we talked, laughed, and danced all night. San Francisco was so beautiful that year.
I met Bill at a party, even though we had both come with other people. Can you imagine? As soon as I saw him, I felt butterflies. When the evening was over, I had Bill drive my date home, and then we went to the yacht club to look at San Francisco Bay. I won't tell you how long we stayed, but I think that's where we first realized this was true love.
I only had a week in San Francisco, so I spent about every minute of it with Helen. When it was time for me to depart, we were officially engaged. But I still had my South Pacific commitment to finish. Now that we had found each other, we weren't looking forward to being apart.
On On our last night together, Bill gave me a beautiful corsage and kissed me goodbye. I worried so much about him and couldn't imagine being apart. On the next Saturday, a bouquet of flowers was delivered to me, the same ones that had been in the corsage. The flowers kept coming every Saturday, week after week, but it was Bill I wanted to see again. I wondered if he would return.
Sorry, we got cut off. I wanted to tell you that there is a craft room off the living room, and you should be able to find everything you need there to create the party invitations. Just feel free to explore the house, the garden. It's all yours while you plan the anniversary party.
After a long stint at Midway, the Army sent me back home to Helen. She had waited for me all that time and arranged all of our wedding plans. My main concerns were to pick up my dress blues, plan the honeymoon, and purchase a new car, a blue Plymouth for $800. I remember that day so well, seeing Helen in her beautiful white dress. I guess I always will.
I only planned one wedding in my life and one man to share that life with. When I looked across the aisle at Bill in his uniform, I knew in my heart I had chosen right. Little did I know how many changes awaited us, how crazy the world would become. After the excitement of the wedding and all the good wishes, we could only think of our honeymoon. A beautiful little cottage in Carmel, a crackling fire in the fireplace, strolls along the beach, and martinis at a little bar called Sadie's. Honeymoons should last forever.
We were finally married, but the Army still had its plans for me. Our magical week came to an end, and we boarded the U.S. Grant for Honolulu. After all, there was a war developing, and everyone felt on edge.
Neighbors called and told me about the storm. I hope you're okay. It sounds like the invitations got a bit banged up, so feel free to create something new. We trust your taste.
Helen had lived in Hawaii in the early 1930s, so we had quite a social life. I was always a little more reserved, so Helen was the perfect partner. Friendly, charming, and beautiful. I don't know how I got so lucky.
Married life took some getting used to, like seeing Bill walk around the house with no shoes on. But this was one of the happiest times of our life.
Life in Hawaii had been a slice of heaven, but it wasn't to last. After 6 months, the Army sent us back to California. But we had plans of our own. Helen was pregnant.
We found a house with a small yard. The monthly rent was $60. Our first son, Bill Jr., soon arrived in good health, and just like that, our family had begun.
As a soldier, I often had to face my fears, but nothing had prepared me for this, bringing a new life into the world. As it so often happens, the world started to intrude on our bubble of happiness. We were now officially at war, and I was ordered to Australia for 2 years. I steeled myself and headed overseas, kissing Helen goodbye. Soon after I left, she delivered our second son, Richard. The fighting was so intense, I wasn't always certain I would ever get to meet him.
I remember some of the other Army wives came over and gave me a small brochure. It explained the responsibilities of an Army wife and how we must be prepared for the ultimate sacrifice, losing our husbands in service to the country. Can you imagine? Every week we would hear of friends that had been hurt or killed. I lived for Bill's letters. Today, you can't imagine what an impact the war had on our lives. Rationing applied to oil for the furnace, gasoline, meat, butter, sugar, all kinds of things. There were no silk or rayon stockings. We used makeup on our legs instead. But most of all, we had loved ones dying overseas, and I didn't know from day to day if Bill would make it back.
The war ended at last, and we all felt a sense of hope. I was reunited with Helen safe and sound, and after such a long separation, I never wanted to take time with friends or family for granted.
The day Bill came back was one of the happiest days of my life. I never wanted to be parted from him again. Before too long, we welcomed our third, a boy we named Bob. They certainly kept us on our toes. Our neighbors had 4 boys of their own, and we decided we would form a Little League team. The men had no time to help, so we 2 women ended up managing the team ourselves. Back then, it caused quite a stir.
Helen was always full of surprises. Thank goodness.
We always valued our social life and a good party. On one occasion, we co-hosted a large party with another couple, and we decided to feature mint juleps. Bill and I spent several evenings together trying to determine the perfect recipe.
The resulting party was a hit, aside from a few falls on the stairs exiting the club.
Hey there, my brothers and I were just talking about Mom and Dad's mint juleps. I think they would be perfect for the party. Just about everything you need is in the dining room. The cabinet's probably locked, but there should be a key in a drawer somewhere.
The 1950s sent us from D.C. to Sacramento, and then to Paris, France. As our world got bigger, our family became more important than ever. But even then, the boys were getting older, and I knew they would move on someday.
The nights in Paris were freezing, and Bill would come home to find all of us huddled in front of the electric oven. I had so much to do and learn, and in a new language. But that didn't stop me. We took trips all over Europe, and even saw My Fair Lady with Julie Andrews and Rex Harrison. Oh, he was so handsome. I just adored Paris. I took cooking classes and learned the city by heart. While Bill worked, I minded the boys and filled our home with the smell of French cooking. I must have made 1,000 crepes.
I know her choices might not be popular today, but Helen threw herself into our family with all her heart. I will always be thankful for her support. I'm sure I would have been lost without her. We had shipped our big DeSoto to Paris. This proved to be useful when going around the treacherous traffic circles, where the Frenchmen in their tiny cars were intimidated by us and gave us a wide berth.
The Paris flea markets were treasure troves of antique furniture. I once found an old dresser painted bright green, and Bill and I stripped it and stained it by hand. What a mess! But we still have that wonderful old dresser, and seeing it takes me right back to Paris.
heard about the backyard. I can't believe we forgot to tell you about the spring. That's not the first time we flooded the flower bed, believe me. Anyway, I opened up an account for you at the garden center, so you can have your way with the backyard. I know you'll create something special for the party.
I had joined the army as a young man from a family of farmers. I didn't have many other options. Now, after so many years, with Helen at my side, the army honored me with a promotion to Major General.
All three of our boys were immersed in school, learning to drive and discovering girls. It seemed like just a moment ago I held our first son, Bill Jr., in my arms. Now I spent my time keeping the boys out of trouble.
It was around this time that I developed a deeper appreciation of golf. I must have taken to it since I won the Army-Navy Club Championship 2 years in a row. I thought we'd be able to relax by now, but our lives were busier than ever. Being a general meant a jam-packed social life, including receptions at the White House.
Those receptions! What do you wear when you meet a president? On the day I met President Kennedy, I had played golf that morning and had a terrible sunburn, which showed in my open-neck dress. He commented on it and I was mortified. But I explained that we had won our golf match and he agreed that a bit of sunburn was worth it.
After 33 years in the service, I retired. It was a bittersweet moment. They gave me a full dress parade, and as I watched the next generation of soldiers march by, I couldn't help but reflect on my life. I had no regrets.
We moved to St. Louis, where Bill went to work for a wonderful engineering firm. In the meantime, our first 2 grandchildren had arrived. They were just darling. There's nothing more fun than being a grandparent.
Our friend suggested an apartment, and when I went to introduce myself to one of the neighbors, he answered the door with a golf putter in his hand. I signed the papers on the spot.
In St. Louis, we had one of the hardest times in our lives. One of our boys was sent to Vietnam, and then another. My first and second born. I remembered the brochure about an army wife making the ultimate sacrifice, but no one should have to sacrifice their children.
I can still see Bill and Richard as they left for Vietnam. They looked so young. I had been a soldier too. Not a day went by when I didn't pray for them.
Oh, Bill, we were so lucky. Both of our boys made it home. Some of our dear friends weren't so fortunate. The world seemed more chaotic than ever. With the trouble in Vietnam and at home, I decided to become more involved with the community. I volunteered at the Children's Hospital and joined the St. Louis Historical Society. I also began to take an interest in quilting, and bit by bit, I managed to finish a Rose of Sharon quilt. It is still one of my proudest accomplishments. And honestly, it helped keep my mind off the boys.
was finally retired and had a lot of good work to look back on. But I didn't want to remain idle, so when I inherited my family's old farm in Pennsylvania, I decided to dedicate it to my second great love.
His first great love was me, I hope. His second was golf. So, in a fit of insanity, we turned the family farm into a golf course.
It was incredibly hard work, but Helen was up to the task. We ended up with a functioning 18-hole golf course in rural Pennsylvania.
I fixed up the house and Bill designed the course. What were we thinking? But I guess a successful life is one full of love and accomplishments, and we tried our best to have both.
Being back in the house I grew up in, the rooms were the same, but everything else was so different. I had sons of my own now, and I had Helen by my side. I even buried a box of love letters for her in the yard, just to remind us to keep our romance strong. 50 years together. We were still busy and very much in love, but the Pennsylvania winters were taking their toll. Some good friends told us about property in Florida, and we flew down to investigate. There was golf, sunshine, and plenty of old army buddies. Would this be where we finally learned to take it easy?
Florida was just beautiful. Little did we know we would be spending 20 more years there. After all, this was only our 50th anniversary.
We celebrated our 50th with a party attended by 170 of our friends and family members. Someone showed photos of our wedding, but I didn't even need to see them. I could close my eyes and picture my Helen in her beautiful white dress, just like it was yesterday.
Hi again. I hope everything's going okay at the house. I just wanted to let you know that we sent out an email to friends and family reminding them about the anniversary. We asked the folks who can't make it to send a postcard or a letter to Mom and Dad wishing them well. So be on the lookout for some mail.
Florida, we finally did start to slow down, even as the rest of our family picked up speed. Our sons were doing well, and new grandchildren showed up at our door. To be honest, we don't always understand this changing world, but through the young people we know and love, we try and keep up.
We're so proud of our family and friends and the life we've created. We don't quite have the same ability to shake things up, but through the people we love, I hope our values live on. Our new home is wonderful, and we're as active as ever. Bridge, bocce, golf, we keep active. We even do the Times crossword every day.
Sometimes the best way not to slow down is not to slow down. We are getting older, though, and don't like to travel much. For our 70th, I think we'll just stay home and take it easy.
After all, we're not 90 anymore.
Oh my gosh, is the house possessed or something? Well, never fear. I called the home store and you have free reign to get the living room back up to snuff before the party. I definitely trust your taste over mine, so just have at it. We can't thank you enough for all your hard work. The party is going to be fantastic. See you very soon.
Oh my, is this the house we knew? It's so pretty.
Is this a party? Now, we told you we wanted to take it easy. You never know when you choose someone what will happen. There's so much uncertainty in the world. War, financial upsets, accidents.
But there are also so many good things. Fun, laughter, family, and adventure. And with someone you love, it's all so much better.
When I first saw Helen, how could I know we would spend 70 years together? We've seen and done it all, but I can honestly say, if I had to live my life over again, I would hope to marry the same girl, just a few years earlier, so we can enjoy even more time together. Incredible. 70 years together.
70 years. I love you, Bill.